Buenos dias, everybody. This is JD Cantu from Hispanic News Online. We are doing 30 for 30 for Hispanic Heritage Month, and today I have a guest that came out of nowhere for me. Somebody that I'm going to tell you guys, when I first saw them hit me on Twitter, I was a little scared. I didn't even know who they were. If you haven't heard about hashtag TNT, that's T for Tom, N for Nancy, T for Tom, then you need to look into them because every time something rings a bell with them, I am going to tell you that my phone goes crazy. My Twitter account just goes crazy. These guys are insane. If they like something or they don't like something, they will let you know quickly. The other night, I posted something, and I swear it was 4 in the morning when it finally went off because it was just going like crazy. So I wanted to get to the bottom of this and find out more about them. So I am bringing you Claudia. Claudia, how are you? She is, I think, one of the founders, or is the founder of TNT. Is that correct?
Yes. Hi, JD. Thank you for having me. Yes, we are very loud on Twitter, and sometimes it's for good, and sometimes people don't like it so much. So we ask our followers to turn their notifications off if they don't want to get a lot of noise in their phones. But yes, we are TNTweeters. That's the name of the group. And we started as an organic group. We are not officially or formally organized. This is just a very organic way of getting together and trying to do something to make a change.
So, Claudia, give me a little bit background of you. Why did you start this? Where did you come from? Who are you? Because you're like one of those little phantoms. I mean, you just appeared out of nowhere and all of a sudden just grew huge. So, let's introduce you to the community so that they're not scared of you or your group.
No problem. Yes, my name is Claudia Longo. I live in Ohio, in Cleveland, Ohio. I've been in the U.S. since 2002. I come from Uruguay. I immigrated with my husband, and we have 2 kids that were born here in the U.S., 11 and 8 years old. The whole thing started when I realized during 2013 with the passage of the bill that the Senate passed a bill for immigration reform. I got interested in seeing what was next. What was the process of that bill becoming law? So I started learning a little bit about the process and how we could get it done. And I understand that there was a lot of movement in the community with lots of organizations and activists doing a lot of rallies and petitions, and there was a lot of noise, and that was great because I feel like that's what got things moving back then. But then I understood that there was also something that was not being done, and that was asking directly to the people that can have it done, which is the Congress. And the bill was going to go to the House of Representatives, and then they were the ones that needed to hear from us. And so I realized there was a way to do it directly through social media, especially Twitter. And we understand that when you send a tweet, this tweet goes directly to the person's account, to their email. They get a notification. So this was a great way to do it instantly and fast. And if we get a lot of people to do it at the same time, it was going to drive them crazy. And at least they're going to hear a lot of people saying the same thing, saying we want immigration reform passed. So that's when I went online and I found out that there were other people trying to do the same thing through Twitter, but we were not organized. There was like one tweet here, one tweet there. People didn't really know how to make a tweet to make it really strong with a good hashtag, hashtag, or which were the representative accounts on Twitter. So we started doing a little bit of research and finding out the list of all the representatives and especially the ones that were against the bill. So we started sending them tweets every day for months, doing 7 days a week, thousands and thousands of tweets. It was insane. And a lot of people got on board and they understood that there was a great and easy and cheap way to do it. You can do it on your own time, at home, at work, from your phone. You didn't require to know a lot of English or have a lot of knowledge about laws, or you could just do a retweet and then your message was going to be sent. So that's how it started. But we understood that we needed a little bit of organization. So we got together, we started a Facebook page. We have a group on Facebook. Now we have more than 3,000 people that like the page. We have tons of followers on Twitter too. There's a lot of people that know who we are, and but there's also people that don't like us so much, especially some politicians and sometimes a few organizations that don't agree with what we have to say, because sometimes we don't agree with the way things have been done to get to the goal of the immigration reform. We feel like there's been a lot of mistakes done.
Claudia.
And we, yeah.
Claudia, real quick. Yeah, your voice is kind of going away from it, so keep your phone.
Oh.
Okay, so let me ask you this, though. So basically, this is a good way. I mean, they always ask you to write to your senator or congressman, but this is more of a direct way to do it, because now, even if he blocks you, the individual Twitter, if you have 5,000 followers, he's going to have to block all 5,000 followers not to get your message, right? Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what happens, and it has happened before. We have been blocked, or we've had replies for some of them, and they see that the response is immediate from hundreds of people, and there's nothing they can do actually. So they can block 2, 3, 5, but they cannot block thousands.
Wow.
So it's great, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you guys, they're like a swarm of black flies sometimes. I'm just like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? Because they're hitting me up, It's amazing. But, okay, let me ask you this. So, is there a group of you guys that are in charge of it, that oversee what goes on and goes out, or does it just go?
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Well, that's how it works. We have like a few of us. Anybody that it belongs to the group can do anything. You can bring out ideas. You can do your own research and bring it to us and say, hey, look, this article I found, or look what this or that politician is saying. So this is a very open group. Anybody can have an opinion, can come and say, I like how we do this. We can change it this other way. We do posters. We do our own research. Sometimes we write our own articles. And then we have people that is in charge of collecting all those tweets. We make the tweets, and then we collect tweets from other people that we believe they are in the same cause with us, and they have the same ideas, or we want to inform about something that is going on. So we collect all those tweets, and there's people in charge of doing that every day for 5 days, 5 days a week we do it. And we fill up these accounts on Twitter, and then the rest of the group retweets them.
Wow.
So it's very organized, actually.
So somebody who really wasn't in politics, didn't have any political background, really, ¿verdad, Claudia? I mean, did you have any political background?
No, none.
And so, what do you say? What size is your group now? I mean, because I know that you yourself have like 5,000 followers, but
Hmm.
I mean, let me just tell you, I did some research and I saw some of your other followers, and some of them have, 500, 300 and stuff. But in total, do you guys even know how many followers you have?
It's very hard to know because most of the are followers we have in common. Like individually, we have followers in common, and then the main accounts have between 1,200 and 3,000 followers because there's three different accounts we use, two in English and one in Spanish. But they are mingled. We have a lot of common followers. So it is really hard to know on Twitter how many actually we have. We know we have 3,000 in our group on Facebook, and then we have every day we know we have between 80 and 150 retweets on every tweet we post. So those are the numbers we can see, but it's a little bit hard to know how far we can reach with our message.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I think it's a lot bigger than that because sometimes when you guys hit me, the numbers are much bigger than that. You have several accounts. You have hashtag TNT vote. What are the other ones that you have?
Well, TNT vote it's a hashtag we came up the last few months when we started to do a lot more information about the coming elections in 2016. So we figured, all right, let's do a hashtag that is still our own brand because it has the TNT, but it has more to do with what's coming up, which is the elections, and to motivate the voting.
Okay.
And it is also shorter. So
what are what is the accounts that you do have?
So when you want to follow us, you can follow us on three accounts. It's at TNTweeters US, at TNTweeters USA, and then the account in Spanish is at TNTweeters ES, as in Español.
In Español, okay.
Yes, and then you can always use our hashtags, which are hashtag TNTweeters or hashtag TNVote, and then we can get your tweet just from looking for the hashtag on Twitter, and it's very easy for us to find your tweet and retweet it and include it in our account so everybody can see it and it can be a spread. You know how it works. You retweet a tweet and then 5 friends retweet it and 5 friends of those 5 friends retweet it. It's like a snowball effect.
Oh,
so
I'm telling you.
It's really powerful.
It's really powerful. So, okay. All right. So you have a central hub. You have 3 accounts. You have special hashtags that you're using. You're using social media, especially on Twitter, to the highest level. Okay, so you guys started doing this basically around immigration. Are you guys still focused just on immigration? What is your focus at the moment?
Right. Well, immigration will always be our focus until we get immigration reform. That's never going to change. The only thing that has changed is that along the way we learned that there's another way to get to immigration reform that is not just rallies and marchas and protests. There is always a way of getting the right representative elected. And how do we do that? By voting. That's the only process that allow us to have a voice, a real voice for immigration reform, for any other issues we care, because of course we are Latinos, but we are also Americans, and we are members of our community, and we care about everything else, economy, the health, education. This is not just with the goal of getting reform, immigration reform. So the only channel is by being having our voices heard through the vote. So we learned that the Latino turnout is always very, very low. It's usually low. It's the lowest number among all the entire population, especially during midterm elections. And midterm elections are so important. People don't understand how important it is, because that's when we get our Congress elected. Half of the Congress is elected during midterm elections, and our voting turnout is very, very low. So we thought, okay, well, let's do something about it. Let's start showing our community what they need to do, how to get registered, how to become a U.S. citizen if you're a legal resident, and start informing with graphics and links and posters. That's what we thought. Okay, this is what we need to focus right now. We need to focus on getting Latinos to vote, and that's what we're doing right now. We are joining every campaign we see about register to vote or become a U.S. citizen, and we retweet their tweets. We write our own articles. We actually had register to vote events here in Ohio, so we promote it. We help organize it, and we are trying to do that in every other state where there's a TNTweeters representative. So that's where we're focusing now.
So, as an organization, are you bipartisan? I mean, do you follow one party over the other? How do you feel about that? Because as news, we can't take sides. We try to bring you the information. We both know that one party tends to lean one way and the other party leans the other way. But if let's say okay, I'm gonna just say it. Let's say you find a Republican a representative who isn't going with the party lines and says, this is wrong. This is not the way we should be looking at it as a party. We should be looking at it. Will you support that person? Or
of course, absolutely, yes. We never intended to be partisan. We only have one goal, and we understand that to get to that goal, you need two parties, because that's how the system works. This is not a tyranny. This is not a monarchy. We have a system with two parties, and both parties need to get together to a consent and craft a bill that is good enough. It's not going to be perfect, but it's good enough for everybody to get happy, and it has to be voted that way. That's the only way. When we first started 2 years ago, even though we were mostly targeting Republicans, there were a lot of Republican representatives that were supporting immigration reform, and we were sending our thank yous to them and saying, this is what we need. We need more of you guys. We need people that stick out in their own party and say, that's not right. We need to do this because this is the right thing to do for the country. And we found them. We send them our messages, but now we don't find anybody anymore. There's like less and less of those representatives, and it's unfortunate, but that's the reality. And if we find someone that is willing to fight against their own party, we're going to be supporting them. This is not about being Republican or Democratic. This is about getting to our goal. And so, unfortunately, we have to highlight what the Republican Party is doing, and that these things are not helping them, actually, because I don't think any Latino or anybody that supports immigration reform is going to be voting for them in the near future.
Hey, so yesterday I was talking to another friend of mine who was on this podcast series, and I was mentioning what you were doing, and they hadn't heard of you yet, but they are now, because I got a message from her saying that she's following you now. But she brought up something. She said, this really reminds me of what Hector Garcia did back, I guess, in the 50s with the American GI Forum. Do you know about that? Did you know about that?
No, 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 no.
Well,
Tell me about
you
it.
should look it up. And what happened was that when he got back from the war, he realized that a lot of the Hispanic vets were having problems getting some of the stuff that they should be getting, and so he started a movement. And you should read about it, and it's a very interesting. I'll send you some information about it later. But one of the things that came out of that was there was a message sent out by him that they aligned themselves to do the same thing that you guys did and in Texas, and that was to change policy by putting people in positions that would support their wants and needs and look after them. And so I think, I can't remember, don't hold me to this because I don't know the numbers exactly, but I remember reading about this, and something like they had 16 seats they needed to fill, and they went after each one with a Latino in it, right? And they got 16 out of them. And his verbiage about that was, when our community takes action, results get done, because of the amount of population, the amount of density of people in certain districts, that if you put somebody out there who represents us and we vote for them, it'll change, and
Right.
we'll get people
Absolutely.
into the stuff. I'm really glad to know that you guys did your research and went and found the information that the common person doesn't have, and you are now opening your doors basically to any Hispanic or any Latino that wants to get involved in the community politically. Basically, you already have all the contacts, you have all the information, and by them tweeting to you guys, they can affect or basically get their information to their senator or their congressman much quicker because it's instant. We're talking about electronics, and that you have the list compiled already is really helpful. So
Right.
I hope more people
There's a
join you.
there's a lot of yeah, there's a lot of work still to do, and this is not just a Latino problem, but the thing with getting more moderates elected. I think it's a national problem with the gerrymandering and the way districts are drawn. Sometimes there's the intention, there's a lot of people that really want to go out and vote, but because the way their districts are drawn, then it doesn't make any impact on the final elections. But that's part of our job too, to push for legislation to change those districts drawings so it's more fair. So there's a lot of things that need to be changed. But I think if we don't start and if we don't get together with throwing ideas and doing something that is so easy, this is just easy and you don't have to spend money. You can do it from your phone. You can do your own research. Anybody can do it. You can learn how to do it. We're here to help you too, because we help people. Sometimes people that have never ever in their life had a Twitter account. We help them open an account and set it up, and how you teach them how to retweet and how to make your own tweet. And these people have learned, and these are moms, and these are people that work 2 jobs sometimes, and they're super busy, but they found the time to say, okay, I want to make the difference. I want to be that little grain of sand that adds up to the change. And sometimes we don't have the time to go to a rally or to a town hall or, so I feel like at least this is being going to be part of the change along with other actions. It's not the only thing, but I think it's going to help add up to this change we are looking for.
Oh, so now, okay. So are you guys actually doing small little events around the country to actually show people how to do this stuff, or is it just in Ohio that you're doing the sign up and
Right.
you're doing
Well,
it?
yes. If you, for instance, if you want to join us today, I can show you how you can join, and then there's a group of people online that are constantly there, and they can show you how you can open your account. This is all online. There's someone in Houston, Texas, and someone in, I don't know, Alabama, and they are connected, and they're teaching each other and showing how to do it. You don't have to be on the ground with people to do it. that's the beauty of social media.
And the other thing about social media, nobody asks you for an ID.
Exactly, and you don't have to open your account with your real name. It could be, anything. You don't have to put your picture out there. It's that's amazing. That's why we found that this was a great tool. We needed to exploit more towards our own interests.
So let me make this clear to everybody. If you have familia, if you have a primo, you have a prima, you have an amigo, you have compadre, and they're worried about immigration, TNT will help them set up a Twitter account that it's just like voting. If you open one up and you put information out, they will help it get it to the senator or a congressman. So they'll help you, and there's no necessary IDs. There's no identification. Nobody knows that it's coming directly from you. Well, they do, but and that's something totally different. Pero you can get involved. You can get your familia, your primos, your amigos, anybody even if they don't have papers here. Their their opinion matters. So what you guys are doing is fabulous. I think it's revolutionary. You guys are sort of like the hidden secret of Twitter for me. And I told you the other day I want to leverage with you guys because I think what you guys are doing is genius, and hopefully other people who are listening to this, amigos, I can't tell you enough. Go follow them. Watch what they're doing. They're working for our behalf, and they're helping our community. So please follow them. Okay, I had another question for you, and that was, what do you see in the future for what you guys are doing now? Are you guys going to do more local events? Maybe go to a store or a church and maybe get people to sign up on Twitter? I mean, do you guys have any plans like that?
Well, we don't have anything like planned. Like, let's say there was an event I organized here in Cleveland, and it was all out of nowhere. I got a couple of other organizations locally to help me, but it was all TNTweeters idea. So, and there's other members around the country that I know that they're doing their own, going door to door and talking to people and family members. I know that there's a couple of friends in California that are doing voter registration at college campuses. I think what the impact is more like individually. Like, I feel like when they see our tweets and our messages and our posts and our articles, they get inspired and they say, well, we can do something. And we don't need to belong to any organization. We don't need to belong to a party. We can do this on our own. And we've seen people doing it at their houses and maybe getting 5 people to register to vote, or getting 10, or getting 1. And that, for us, that's already a gain. We gain something that otherwise it wouldn't have been done. So we are trying to do more of those local events because, of course, being online, it's great and it's helping, but the impact has to go on a local level and inspiring people to vote in every election, not just presidential elections. We have elections in every year. And also, that's the other thing. I don't know if we talk about. We are trying to get organizations to help us build up workshops. And if anybody out there is listening anywhere in the country and want to do this, you can contact us, and we can talk to someone locally, and they can help you to start doing more civic education among our community. Because we feel like sometimes what happens is that people that immigrate, they become citizens, and then they don't know how the system works because it's so different from the countries we come from. and they need to relearn how to do it, how the system works, how you have to register to vote, and you have to do it at certain time. It can be done after a deadline, and what is in the ballot in every election. So we feel like that's something we need to do. We need more education. Maybe in places where there's more Latinos, there's probably more of that, but in places like here in Ohio, I don't see that anywhere. And I think that's also important. And so we are trying to do more at a local level, because we think it's very important too.
Wow. Wow. Okay. You know what? 30 minutes has already flown by, and I have so many more questions for you, Pero. Before we have to say goodbye, can you give everybody information out there how they can get a hold of you guys? Do you mind sharing?
Right. Sure. So if you go on Facebook, you can find us at TNTweeters Pro Immigration Reform. That's the name of our group, and you can join, and it's very easy, and you'll see there lots of information, plenty of information. Even we post the times where we have our account on Twitter with ready to retweet, so you can see when to do it, so you know what account and what time. And then on Twitter, you guys can follow us as at TNTweeters at TNTweeters USA, and at TNTweeters ES, as in Espanol. We also have a website. It's www.tntweetersus. And that's it. Those are the ways you can join us, and please do it. It's free. You can come and we can greet you and teach you how to use your Twitter account if you already have one. If not, we can teach you how to open one. And there's a lot of people working every day, very nice. We speak Spanish, hablamos español. So you're all welcome to come and join us.
Oh my God! I really wish I had more time with you, but unfortunately, we promised that it was only be 30 minutes of their time. I cannot tell you how much I thank you for coming on, Claudia. You scared me at first, but I'm just glad to be your friend now. Hey, everybody, I'm going to tell you this. She just gave you the information, but she's also going to give it to me. She's going to email me this information of how to get a hold of them. So if for some reason the connection was bad or whatever, it's going to be under the podcast on hnonline.us, okay? So you guys can find that information there. I hope you guys come back and listen to it and hear what she's saying, because she's saying to you, young students in college, she's talking to you, comadres, that get together for whatever to make empanadas. She's talking to all of you Latinos who are out there who want to make a difference, who want a way. Now she's giving you a way to reach the people that can make changes for us, and also trying to teach you how to make changes in our own community. So, no se hagan de boca chica, por favor, reach out to them, okay? Join them. I want to see TNT in the 1.5 million mark to 2 million, because we've got 55 million of us in this country, or 56, I think it's now. And 1 million is a good number to shoot for. You guys can make them a 1 million Twitter account, so do that, and a Facebook account. I think that this organization is going to do good stuff for us. With that, I'm going to have to say goodbye. Everyone, gracias. I appreciate you coming to listen to us. This is Jose David Cantu, otherwise known as JD, for Hispanic News Online. Thanks, everybody. Come back tomorrow.